everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Roberge. I'll be introducing tonight's speaker. Some architects have the capacity to transform concepts of architecture, both from the inside of the discipline and from its outside. Sou Fujimoto is this rare kind of architect. He is a radical thinker who uses abstraction, randomness, a keen observation of human behavior, and a sense of play to render unconventional conceptual architecture familiar, engaging, and even endearing. Sou Fujimoto, while deeply invested in architecture's long disciplinary history, willingly suspends this knowledge to question what he defines as the fundamental conditions of architecture. Unsatisfied with binary oppositions between inside and out, order and disorder, the man-made and the natural, Fujimoto labors over conditions of betweenness to make other architectures possible. His use of abstraction affords him and us new insights into architecture. His frequent negation of materiality, tectonic expression, and programmatic routine produces surreal acts of architecture and equally surreal scenes of human behavior. His work is extraordinarily powerful, resulting in its reception by an international architectural audience and by people from places as geographically and culturally distinct as London, Budapest, Tokyo, and Los Angeles. As recently as a few months ago, I witnessed this phenomenon on a narrow alley in Tokyo. With me were graduate students from Beijing, Washington, Illinois, and beyond. We stood mesmerized in front of the house in A, while its owner climbed up and down, back and forth, broom in hand, wondering aloud, what is architecture? Sou Fujimoto's work, from installations to private houses to public buildings, demonstrates convincingly that architectural knowledge is written anew by the radical experiment. Please join me in offering a warm welcome to Sou Fujimoto.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you very much for coming today. I'm very happy to be here because the first time I came here it was 5-6 years ago, invited by Abe-san to do one semester teaching, and that was the first time for me to teach in abroad, so I was a bit nervous. And but now this time I came back and 1 week workshop, and I'm more relaxing and enjoy the workshop. And I'd like to say thank you very much for my students. It was very great jobs, and thank you for Heather and Abe-san and everybody. Thank you very much. So today I like to talk about 9 projects, and it's kind of some of them, it's like a really small pavilion, private houses, some of them public buildings, library. So just from the small scale to the bigger scales, it's really diverse. It has varieties. But at the same time, it has the same concept or the same thinking behind it. So I hope you to enjoy that kind of diversities and same things, one simplicities together in my projects. And I like to start from my background. This is my background. I was born in Hokkaido. It's a northern island in Japan, and full of nature. My home was surrounded by these beautiful forests, so I was grown up in that and playing around in that. And then when I get into the university, I moved to Tokyo. So yeah, as you see, it's really terribly ugly city, crowded. But finally, yeah, I'm now living there. And both situations, so completely opposite, so completely different, but after years and years and after learning architecture, I felt kind of a similarities between both of them. Yeah, even though it looks so completely different. And then one day I thought, well, what is the similarity? Probably the appearance is different, but something behind it is the same. And I thought, in nature, in my hometown, small forest, everything is like these small leaves, small branches, and small trees surrounding you to create the scales where you are really comfortable. Yeah, I'm not sure. and but yeah, really comfortable. And still, it's not closed. It's very open. So you can walk around, you can play around. So it's open field, but still keeping that kind of a comfortable, cozy scales. And in Tokyo, as you see, yeah, it's in this kind of, especially in this kind of small street, you were surrounded by these small or middle-sized artificial things, and then it is creating kind of the scales comfortably surrounding you, protect you. And of course, still it's open system, so you can walk around as you like. It's open to your, it's open to you. So that kind of the duality of cozy scales created by the small things, but still open to your behaviors. That is, I felt the similarities behind it. But appearance is completely different. And that was very interesting because nature and architecture is, basically it's opposite, different. But we could find some similar or same somethings behind it. And I felt we could treat both of them, nature and architecture, as equals, or we could treat them, or we could mix them as a part of the architecture, as a part of the nature, try to create the new architectural or living environment. So that was the very starting point. That was just after my graduation from the university. At that time, I didn't have any projects, so I had a lot of time, so thinking about that kind of conceptual things. But finally, I thought, well, maybe this could be the nice starting point for me. I have both of them, the nature things and the really crazy artificial things. And then we could start from this. So that topics, how we can integrate nature, architecture, or how we can treat not only nature and architecture, but that kind of opposite things together, or to think about something between that, is always inspired me to think about that. From the small scales to the bigger scales, or yeah, from the privacy to the public. Yeah, in designing architecture, we have that kind of the things, two opposites, two different things. But we have to realize both of them. That kind of things every time is happening. So inspirations is coming from between the opposite things, between two different things. And then I think this Serpentine Pavilion is one of the really typical or really nice example to show how we treat several different kinds of the different things, integrate them together, or to find out some in-between situations. And as you know, it's, yeah, this is in London. The front garden of the Serpentine Gallery is the site, and every year they appoint one architect to design a video. And yeah, ours was 2 years ago, and we designed this. You will see, yeah, this is the site, and this is the gallery itself, and the front, yeah, the front garden is the site. And we designed this kind of a crazy, how to say, structure of the grids. It's made by the steel pipes, the 2 centimeter, it's really thin, and the module was 40 centimeter, sorry, I talk in metric, it's 40 centimeter, something like this, or sometimes double size, 80 centimeters. And then the whole structures, wall and ceilings, everything's, or these kind of floors, everything's made by that. So you will see sometimes we put the glass floors on it. So this is like a stepping areas, or you could sit on it. And you will see all the grids are repeating many thousands of times to create kind of a blurring areas. And from outside, from above, yeah, you will see the whole structures. This looks like a cloud. And it's strange because the materials is steel, and so straight, and 90-degree pure grids. So it's really artificial order, artificial method. But finally, if you make it like this kind of a bit more complex shape, the whole impression is getting more like a natural cloud or something like that. And yeah, people can step on it. So like this woman, so it looks like a floating in the middle of the cloud. So yeah, we have the contrast, beautiful contrast of the artificial straight line order and softness or crowd-like natural impressions, mix them together. And the whole process was a bit exciting because that was rather rushing process. We only had 1 month for the idea conceptual process because the schedule was tight. So I went there and then got a brief. Brief was very simple. They said, we'd like to have something like Barcelona Pavilion by Miss Van Gogh. Wow, that's simple. One of the extreme requirements, and the really tough requirements. And practically, they said, it could be the cafe, but not only the cafe, but it should be more place for people to behave in a very different way. That they could do the lecture, or party, or dinner, or even the daily life, the cafe, but could allow people to stay in a group or independently or as they like. So that kind of diversity was the requirement. And then, yeah, I made many sketches. And after 1 week, I sent several sketches. And then after sending the sketches, we have to make a phone call. Yeah, every time we should do the phone conferences. And then the director, the famous Julia Payton-Jones, now we are good friend, but at that time, it was tough. And yeah, we sent several sketches. How is that, I asked. And she said, no. Why not? This is too much like Fujimoto-like. Okay. I'm Fujimoto, and you appointed Fujimoto, but you don't like Fujimoto-like. So next week, yeah, we had 1 week. Next week, we send another sketches. And then, how is that? And she said, no. Completely no. Why is that? And she said, it is too much not Fujimoto-like. Okay. So you don't like Fujimoto, you don't like no Fujimoto. So maybe, yeah, we have to make something between Fujimoto and no Fujimoto. But of course, she was serious because, of course, this is really famous series of the project. She likes to have something from the architects, but not just something straightforward from the architects. Something from the architects, but to have a big jump or have a big advance, big development of that. And then that was finally worked very good for us because we had to find out what we have been doing and what we are now interested in, what we are now doing, and what we will do. So the whole history of the career was the things we have to think. And of course, not only our careers, but the whole histories of the architecture, because they mentioned about the Barcelona Pavilion. That is so big things, but at the same time, we have to equally treat about that. But anyway, finally, yeah, this is a process models of just before the last proposal. At that time, I was thinking about, yeah, the program is cafe. So how we can create the space where people can behave in a very different way to create or to inspire the diversities. So we thought about the landscape-like place, the artificial landscape. And this model is more like looks like a Frank Gehry, like curved surface But yeah, of course, I didn't care. Yeah, now it's Frank Gehry, but it should be something different. But I was concerned about this surface. It's too strong because, as you saw, the surrounding was so beautiful greens. So I tried to create nice conversation with the surroundings and the inside. Then we discussed about the brainstorm about how to do with that. And one day, I got an idea to transform this surface into grids. So keeping the feelings of the landscape, but all made by the grids. Then everything is getting more transparent, so more, translucent or transparent, and still keeping the feelings of the landscape, which allow the various different behaviors of the people. So that was the process. Simply describing that was the process. So this is a very important model for me. One step before, but from here, we did a big jump. And then, this is the 1 to 10 scale model. It's really big. Yeah, this was after 2 months or 3 months from that first model. And after deciding using the grids, of course we did it in computer. Roughly, we can make it, but in computer, we just see thousands of the lines just described. And we didn't find out where's the space, what is the exact shape. And finally, after 2 months, we decided to make the real model. But it's so complicated, so the scale should be bigger. Because even this, the elements, is 2 millimeter wooden stick, glued to each other to make each one grids one by one repeatedly. So it was really tough works, but finally we did it. And then, after 3-4 months, the first time we see what we have been doing. Unfortunately, it was rather nicer. So, of course, after this finishing of this first model, I myself trimmed some of the, some of the grids, or add many grids to make it more, mysterious. It was simple, but it's getting more mysterious because the whole rules is very simple. But then final appearances should be something beyond your easy understanding of the space, or easy understanding of the object. And then it is the problem of the resolutions. From outside, it is some mysterious things. If you're getting closer, you will see it works as a chairs, it works as a structures, you can go up, and then every steps you will find out your new understanding of the space. So that is the situation it has. And then finally it is. So you will see from some angle it looks very strange. And then it has an entrance here, but you don't see it from this picture because it's almost vanishing into the layers of the grids. And then here we have the steps. But around here we have a barrier. People couldn't go up until the top of the roof. And then we follow the regulation of the London complicated regulation of the safety and securities. Everything's finally nicely integrated in this simple grid systems. So you don't see it. You only see this. This is, we couldn't avoid. It is a big handrails. This is exactly how it is in the London regulations. But all the rest, it's vanished and integrated into the structures. And this is inside. And surprising point is this transition of the transparencies. Yeah, there is no walls, no columns, or we have thousands of columns. So it's a bit complicated. But the whole structure is like this. And then, even no walls, this repetition or layering of the structures is making some opaque feelings of the space. And then sometimes, some areas, less layering, then it's getting more transparent. But finally, it depends on the direction you see, or how close to the wall, or how far from the structures. So every one step you walk, then the transparencies or densities is dynamically changing. That is the very, very surprising point. I myself even was surprised to experience that. And then, this is kind of the new definition of the space. because usually architectures are made by the wall, or the glass wall, or the wall, or windows on the wall, something like that. So inside and outside is anyway clearly defined. But here, you don't see fixed transparent areas. It's like interactive. It's really interactive. And the whole space is like a following to your movement, and still it's really stiff and stable. So it's between something like a really stable architectural things and phenomenal experiences. And of course, it's between wall and the windows, that kind of a transition areas. Only the transition areas are closed up, and then we gave the form for that. And of course, the fundamental topic about inside and outside are really drastically close up in this project, because the boundaries between inside and outside also always a big topic for architectures, and how to define it or how to recreate that. And in this case, we don't have the strong boundaries, but always the relationship, the transparencies is changing. In these photos, the transition areas is really clearly shown. These are here transparent, because you straight see the grids. But then gradually you start to see the layers of the many grids, so getting more whitey, and then finally it's like a super white, almost opaque areas. But if you move around, then if you walk from this distance, these directions, then you don't see this kind of transparency on this part, because you are on the different angle. So that kind of a, interaction or interactive experiences is quite exciting. And we put the big openings on the ceilings, even inside, to create that kind of a inside-outside feelings. And we also put the roof. It's almost vanishing, but the transparent polycarbonate plastic discs are floating there, stick in the middle of the frames. And as you can imagine, it didn't work a lot. It was tiled, so one disc up, another one, and another one. So almost it works, but some of the rain is falling down. But fortunately, this is so strange architectural structure, so even the rainy day, the rain water is coming down from the ceilings. People felt maybe this must be the intention of the designer, to have rainfalls inside. So they said, wow, really impressive rainfalls. And this is the view of the opening lecture I did. So suddenly the whole surface of the grids are occupied by the people. So then you will see how these landscaping situations are nicely kept from the first the model. Of course, this is really, how to say, then you just behave as an auditorium. But if there is less people, then you can behave more freely, which locations, higher, lower, together with 10 friends, or with only 3 friends. So different scales of the people, different behaviors, different types of experience. And in the evening, it's just a simple light up from the bottom, but it is losing the materiality, and it's getting more virtual things. And of course, you can come in, and it's quite strange experience to walk into that kind of a virtual grid, like a matrix, like things, and you can step on. So I didn't expect, because using that kind of a physical rough model, it's impossible to see these kind of really delicate feelings. But the reality is something sometimes beyond the designer's intentions. So I think, you felt, I imagine you felt several different kinds of the integrations or contrast in this project. Of course, nature, architecture, transparency, and opaqueness, or inside and outside, or furniture scales, architecture scales, and the landscaping scales, and the real materials, the straight borders and the natural softness. So we are handling that kind of a contrast or opposite things relating fundamentally to architecture, and then try to realize both of them. And then finally, I think it's done, and it's really creating the richness of the experience. Because if you have two of them, both of them, of course that's better than only having one. But if you have not only two of them, but something transition between two of them, it has the big range of experiences. And one parameter is already really rich. But then several different parameters are layered up. Then to create, I don't know what kind of a description, but the several different, now we are in the three-dimensional world, but the 10-dimensional world experience is possible, I think, in this kind of architecture. So that was really something we achieved on this project. And then this is a private house in Tokyo. It's a real house. Yeah, and as you know, in Tokyo, the plot is quite small. So we decided, we gave up to have rather proper usual size of the living space in here, for example. Then this is just a small house. So we try to achieve not the size of the space, but the varieties or diversities of the experiences. So we try to divide smaller plot in a smaller pieces of the floors. It's almost like a furniture scale. It's 1.4 meter, 1.4 meter. The smallest one is something like that. Biggest one, even the biggest one is a 3 by 2.5. So it's rather bigger table. And then the layout in three-dimensionally with several different gaps like this to create the whole vertical three-dimensional space. And each of the floors is like this. So you can say this is one room, or you can say this is just a stop by of the staircases, or this is one room, or one plate of the shelves, or something like that. So the meaning of this plate is always changing. And you can occupy even this space. You couldn't stand on it, but you can just walk in and sit here, or you can walk up. And then this has the 3 points of 4 meter seating height. So the seating height is various. The sides of the floors, small but various, to create the varieties of the spaces. And then not only each places, but the combination of these several different plates are creating the variety of the spaces. This is not only just one plate, but combined together with these plates. It's like a bench or table, or usually this is working as the shelves. You put some books or something, but sometimes you can use this as a room or something like that. And this is the sleeping areas. And unfortunately, or fortunately, the bathroom is on the top. Almost the same transparency as this. But it's, yeah, so, I mean, I like to say, in here, the usual meaning of the definition of the living space, bedrooms, and some things is already vanishing. And then each functions are appearing according to your interaction to these stepping areas or to each different areas. And then you could choose, you can enjoy to find out how to use that or how to behave that. And if you have 10 friends, then of course this place is small enough, too small for 10 friends, but then 2 of them here, 2 of them there. It's like a stadium. You can be like a bird on the trees, and then you can make a chat. Because this is quite small, but quite big in a sense. One space, everything is one space, except the toilet. But almost one space. But at the same time, it has 20 different rooms. So it is so many rooms, but at the same time, one room. So that kind of the transitions is making, I hope, this space is very rich. And I hope it will remind the Tokyo photo I showed at the beginning. The characters of Tokyo is the space made by the group of the small things. And then, this is in the middle of Tokyo. And I think how this is made is really close, similar to the composition of the Tokyo, bringing the small things together, not only the architectural pieces. Yeah, this column is like this, 6 centimeters, so it's quite 2 inches something. And the thickness of the slab is also like that. And then the window frames, staircases, bag, vegetations, kitchens, people, every size is getting smaller, smaller, and then make a group together to create really loose, soft territories surrounding you, to create the soft territories. It's exactly the same as Tokyo, I think. So I didn't imagine, even in the process, I didn't think about that, but after completion, I felt the similarity between this house and Tokyo, and then I thought, wow, maybe unconsciously, yeah, house in the Tokyo and how to make it, yeah, probably it affects me. And then this one, suddenly expanding the scale so much. Yeah, you see, this is in the Middle East. Huge project, but it stopped. The site was almost 1 kilometer in the middle of the emptiness to create huge shopping buildings. And I was invited by them to join the competition. And I made a really full set of the presentations, but finally it stopped. And then this has a tower. It's almost 100 meters something. 7, 8 towers to have a void inside these whole towers. And the towers, structures are created by this repetition of the arch. And then, yeah, this is 1 kilometer, and towers, and it has a void inside. It works as a landmark, of course, but at the same time, it works as the natural vegetations. So the reaction to the climate conditions, it's really hot, but the void, big void, is working as the chimney effect. And then on the bottom, we have a shopping areas like this. And this void is making kind of a nice, the reason for the shopping, 1 kilometer with kind of a reason or articulations of the experiences. And the inside of the void is like this. So as you can see, this whole structures is like a serpentine pavilions, but so much expanded. But these structures, the layering of this circle shape or arch shape is creating natural shadings. That was a very, very important inspirations as a starting point. So we try to create nice shadings. But then, just putting the shadings is not so exciting. How we can integrate the structural things and cultural things and climate things together in one system of the structure. So that was the intention. So then you will see so many small arches, so many small grids are coming on it. And the glass line is always set back from that. So it works as a shadings, outside shadings. And then the whole shape is a bit mysterious, but it has meanings, natural vegetation towers, and the landmarkings. And inside, yeah, you will see all the areas properly shaded by the sunlight, and then the dramatic light is coming in. And here, this is one of the void, and we put the whole water, it's like a small lake, and people will, I don't know, to make a shopping or something in the boat. Because yeah, I thought that this was the first project in Middle East, and I imagine anyway in Middle East everything is possible. So, bringing the lake into the buildings, some things, of course, simple intention to make that kind of inside-outside feelings. But the whole structures is always making nice shadings. And yeah, exterior views like this, it's slightly tracing the shape of their local tent structures. And as I said, finally it was cancelled. Suddenly it's vanished. So it's a bit pity, but I enjoyed. And I was involved in that kind of a huge scale situations I never experienced, or different climate I never experienced. And then I have to think about that kind of new conditions seriously and try to integrate our previous method, previous thinking of architecture into new conditions. So that is a bit similar to our workshop studios situations. Suddenly new things is coming to you, then how to understand. You have to struggle how to understand it. And then finally, the result is go beyond your previous imaginations, previous understanding of the architecture. So in that sense, I'm very happy to see how we can expand the concept of the serpentine. It's rather delicate, it's rather small, handling by yourself. But then suddenly it's too much expanding into the 1 kilometer scales. Then I could understand the meanings of the grids systems. Sometimes, yeah, in this project, it already lost some of the nice features of the serpentine pavilion. In a sense, I don't care a lot about that. Now, I'm more interested in how we can achieve unexpectedly from that kind of new situations. And coming back to the much, much smaller scale, I think this is one of the smallest building I did, the public toilet. And you see, yeah, toilet. But seriously, I think the program, public toilet, is quite interesting for architects because it's public, of course, but as you know, it's really private when you experience that. So how to do with this gap between the so super private things and super public things? And our site was located on the countryside. So yeah, we are surrounded by beautiful nature. So how to open or how to close is another topic, another fundamental architectural topic. Usually the public toilet is really closed, but yeah, it could be open. But how to do that? And of course, nature things, architecture things also could be the topic. So I felt, when I get the commission, I felt, wow, this is really serious, fundamental architectural project. How to do that? And then finally, this is it. I don't know, this is really serious, fundamental things. But yeah, you will see, this is the toilet, covered by the glass box, and wall. From above, it's something like this. So we have a wall around it, glass box, and we have a door around here, and you can lock the door. So once you lock the door, then this whole area is like a private garden. So in that sense, yeah, we don't have to have this. Yeah, you can do whatever you like. But this is a public project, so it should be there. Officially, it should be there. And yeah, this is the plan. So here, the wall. This is the existing tree. And the entrance, like this. And yeah, but the budget was a bit limited, of course, for one toilet. So these walls really made by really primitive way. The wooden piles, we stick the wooden piles on the ground, and then connect the top part, and then paint it in black. And we just keep the existing landscaping. We kept the existing trees. So this is the entrance. Yeah, you can notice this is for women. But this has no serious meanings because, yeah, in the plan you notice this is for handicapped people. Or in Japan, yeah, we could say this is for everybody. So handicapped people or men, women, everybody can use it. And we have a regulation, maybe you could have a regulation with if you make a public toilet, the women's toilet could be more than male's toilet. So we already have one, and then if you have one more, should be women's toilet. So they're just following the regulations, so no serious things. Then open the door, yeah, you can see the lock here, and then lock there. And you see neighbor's house there. So maybe you may worry about how to say somebody can see it, but we carefully designed the height of the wall. So if you are sitting on here, they don't see it. And yeah, this is we not too much design the landscape. It's made it more like a usual green field, natural green field, surrounded by the wall. So this is, I don't know, but if I try to do the serious explanation of this, it is really architectural solutions. I mean, yeah, this relates to the wall, the concept of the wall. Wall, yeah, we usually have the several different meanings on the wall. Sometimes it's block the view, and sometimes it's block the air to create the real interior spaces. But in this case, we try to separate that kind of typical meanings of the wall into two different walls. One is just dividing inside and outside, but no blocking the view. And another one is just blocking the view, but no dividing inside and outside. So it's just a clear divisions. And then to create the gap between that kind of two conceptual different walls. And then we will enjoy the view, but still protect it. So it is kind of a creation of something between inside and outside. Just carefully thinking about the meanings of the wall and carefully separate them out. So it's really, yeah, it looks funny, but it's really serious and simple solutions of the walls. And but finally, it's part of the, how to say, art. It's not the temporary, it's permanent, but it's part of the art fair in this small town. And they try to, how to say, activate the city itself by contemporary art on outside or something like that, the renovation of the art museum. And I was invited to make this permanent toilet, but in such a bit strange way. And then last spring, they did kind of a festival, the 2-month festival. So in that period, so many tourists is coming to this area, this city. So of course, yeah, this toilet is a bit unusual. So many people likes to come here. They got a big bus, 30 people or 50 people in one bus. Not only one bus, but the 2-3 buses is coming to see this toilet. That was strange. And of course, not only women, but the men and children, they like to just take a photo sitting here, take a photos, and then next one, so that kind of a photo shooting spot. Then what happened was, yeah, in that kind of a group, 100 people, of course some of them likes to do the toilet. And then, yeah, the announcement says, wow, yeah, we are going to the toilet. So, but when I arrived, it's toilet, but you couldn't do toilet. Everybody's coming in, and then, so some of the, complaint claims came out. Finally, city government decided to put the temporary movable toilet behind this wall. So, yeah, that was funny. Maybe the first toilet who requires toilet. Anyway, sorry. I will be more serious now. But this is one of my favorite private house, but this has the same topic as the toilet. The multiple layers between inside and outside. This is a private house for a couple. So it's simple, but it has 3 boxes. Box, big box, middle box, small box. So it's a box in box in box system with many, many openings on it. But the interesting point of this is this has these openings on outside has no glass. So inside of this big box is outside. Rain comes in, the wind blows, so it has trees. So this is a garden outside, but still inside of this big box. And then the middle box, it has a glass. So inside of this middle box is actually inside, but still outside of this small box. So then, if you have these 3 layers, it is always blurring. which part is definitely inside or which part outside. This is of course outside, but still inside of the territory of this big box. Here, maybe inside of this middle box, maybe outside of this small box. Here, maybe inside of inside of inside, so it could be inside. But the boundaries, meanings of boundaries is always changing according to where you are or how you understand it. So it's, yeah, as I said, it's quite similar to separate or, I don't know, to make it like this. Usual one walls, to make it the three walls. So in that sense, it has one big wall, but the thickness of the wall is from here to there. And the wall is not solid, it is more like an area wall. It has a territory inside. That kind of understanding is also possible. Or it has no strong slabs. The whole thickness of this air could be the roof. So the wall and the roof is, the meanings is always changing. So that is the exciting part of this. And then this is the garden area, the trees. Now, this was 5 years ago, and now it's getting more and more green. And then we have a this is from outside. A bit sandy white boxes here. But from outside, it's concrete white box, but kind of transparent or translucent feelings. And it has trees inside. So the impression is very ambiguous. And if you step in, yeah, this is inside. You have the ceilings, but then have a trees and open to the sky. So half inside of the room and half outside of the spaces. And if you're in the middle of the space, this is inside of a small box, then you will see 3 different layers of the walls and ceilings is creating. And of course, the layering of these openings, random openings, is creating that kind of a really amazing impression. And I have to say, this is like the layering of the openings. So the small box, the openings, and the middle box, and the big box, and the openings. So you will see such a scattered or fragmented skies are covering you. So in that sense, it's completely open to the sky. But at the same time, it's really in the middle of the 3 layers of our boxes. You are so protected by the walls, but you are so open to the nature. And that kind of duality, or the openness and closeness, are integrated here to achieve both of them. Especially depending on your positions in your house. Yeah, on the wall we have many openings. So if you choose some areas, it's completely open. If you choose some corner, it's really hidden by the layering of the walls. So it has that kind of varieties, or the big range from the really cozy protected areas to the gradually getting more open and almost completely open. So as I said at the first slides, it is like a forest. It's a geometrical forest. No natural things. Of course, we have trees, but this geometrical structures itself is like a forest, I think. So again, it's like this. And at the same time, it is really artificial white structures. So that kind of gap is also really fantastic. And also these kind of openings nicely designed to cut out the view from the street, eye level, but still keeping open view to the sky or the neighbor's house. Not so fantastic house, but if you cut out the roof, it's better. So, or you can take the neighbor's greens in. So, in a sense, if you properly block the nice view, bad view from outside, and you take a nice view, then the boundaries of your house, territories of your house, is expanding. This is part of your house, this is part of your house, or even the sky is part of your house. So you have a side boundary, you have a proper regulations of the size of the boxes, but in experience, the boundaries is vanishing, and you could have more open experience. And then I think the similar, but somewhat crazy things is happening in this library project. This is a library for the art university, and the first idea was very simple: the library made by the bookshop. Because, yeah, it's like a dream-like libraries, only made by the bookshelves, no architectural elements. Could be kind of iconic things, I thought. So try to create that like this. And conceptually, it's really simple, starting from one bookshelf, growing like a spiral shape to create a space for the people, and then getting more like a gigantic whole spiral geometries. But these bookshelves has the openings, like the previous private house. Then it is making the layering of the bookshelves to create the feelings of the really huge spreading impression, but at the same time, most of the view are blocked by the wall. So you feel like I can feel something, but I don't know very well about what is happening behind the wall. That inspire you, hopefully, to start to walk around, to see unknown, to look for unknown something. Because I thought libraries, of course, really systematic, should be really systematic place where you have to find the books. But at the same time, this is a library for art university, especially. So library is a place where you can just walking around, just like walking in the forest, and then sometimes encounter with some unexpected books or unexpected ideas. So how to create that kind of endless walking inspiration process or places by not using the real forest or using the book forest. And then this kind of layering of the books is the things we try to do. So this is a model. So also, you will see the layering of the spiral, but in your experience, you don't see clearly this is a spiral. But it's more like just a many layers. So you don't see actually which one is the very dead end. Here and here, it's almost lost in the bookshelves, and less feelings of directions, less feelings of size, but you can just continue to walk around. So you are surrounded by the books. Yeah, if you like books, it's really fantastic. Heaven. If you don't like books, it's really book hell. Finally, like this. And even outside, here we're covered by the bookshelves. We're covered by the glass. And hopefully, if you have to make an extension, sometimes library should need an extension. Then they will put the ceiling here and take out the glass, put the glass, like Roberge's spiral museum. You can extend. But maybe I don't think they do that. Anyway, and this is you will see the layer of the bookshelf, big opening, and then another layer, and the openings, and another layer is just outside the wall. And the upper bridge has the internet area and just a bridge. This is big staircases. Here you can, they can use it for the multi-purpose functions. It's for the auditorium or exhibition spaces, something like that. And then you will see the numbers. It is the numbers of the categories, because it's like a labyrinth. So we put the huge numbers. 7 shows this is art area, or 2, I don't know what it is, it's something. So people can see, wow, 2, I don't know, but 7 art. So I will be there around that area. So more like following to your feelings, you can easily organize your way. And the ceiling is very important, finally, because the bookshelf wall is so strong. So we try to create the ceilings. It's more like an open air. Finally, we did, of course, we put the skylights, and then we covered them, all of them, by the polycarbonate plastic materials, double polycarbonate materials. Then it is making, of course, the soft and the light, but at the same time, it's making nice reflections of the bookshelves through the ceilings. Then you don't see strong surface of the ceilings. It's more like a transparent, translucent, or extension of the bookshelves. And the reflection of this lighting, artificial lightings, is also nicely effected. I intended, but all of the things is making the soft, liquid-like area the ceilings over there. And this is the main floor of the library, so you will see how this spiral shape is making the vanishing spaces. And then you will see how the layers of the bookshelves is creating kind of a hidden spaces, but slightly showing the hint of the space next door. So you can just walk in. Yeah, sometimes, or many times, yeah, they do that. I like this photo very much because yes, she's representing how comfortable this space is. But seriously, I think this photo, not her, but this photo is showing another double meanings for all the things happening here. Because by this system of a spiral, each gap of the wall is rather small. It's, in this case, I imagine 4.5 meters something. So it's rather like a usual residential scales. So it's getting more cozy spaces for your readings. But at the same time, the whole same system is creating this kind of a really widespreading and almost endless readings of the spaces. Because, yeah, it depends on which direction you see or where or how many openings you have around there. So from these kind of really cozy scales, personal scales, to almost endless, really widespreading scales, that kind of transition again is happening here. So we integrated two opposite scales, and both of them are so required or so good for the library experiences. So in architecture, I think, and such a static compositions sometimes could create that kind of amazing transitions of the experiences. And in the evening, yeah, the inside and outside is getting like this. And recently we won a competition in France, near Paris. Another university buildings. This is a technical university, the École Polytechnique. And this is like this. So maybe it reminds you the private house box and box and box one. And at the same time, the libraries, big staircases. Maybe, yeah, this one is like a nice combination of two of them, and a bit more. And this is about 10,000 square meter buildings, and they like to have a new student center, but at the same time, they like to have a lot of the classrooms. So the classrooms is really, how to say, classical programs, the boxes, many boxes. But at the same time, they like to have more flexible areas where students can actively intercommunicate or to make innovations, such kind of open spaces. So how to integrate that kind of two almost things was the big topics. And finally, we did like this. Yeah. In this image, yeah, you can say this is in the middle area. And we have outside, but somehow covered by the canopy and covered by the trees, and with some staircases, even in outside. And inside here, this is already inside. Here, we have a classrooms, repetition of the boxes. But from the classroom, some of the activities, or many of the activities is coming out, melting out. So these central areas, it's more creating the nice mixtures of diversities, different activities from that. So that was a very simple strategy. So it's quite similar to the box house, like a concept in the gradations. So from outside, it's like this. So we have a canopy, big canopy, and under the canopy we have trees, we have bridges, we have staircases, but still this is outside. And then once you step in, then this is getting inside, but still open, the 20-meter high, big open spaces with many catwalks and staircases, and some of the staircases in the sky or in the upper level, in the void is like that kind of big staircases where you can have the studio talk, or where you can have the lectures or something like that. So again, like this. So these big staircases, 4 or 5 big staircases are floating, connected by the many catwalks. And catwalks has many small staircases. So this is the simple diagrams to show. Yeah, the whole site is the Polytechnique, but the main area is here, far more. But the main area, they have a really classical box-like buildings. And then in front, they are planning to make this kind of a more big park-like spaces. So we are on the location is in between. So anyway, then we should have a classroom. Yeah, classroom is like this. And then we should have this kind of a box-like feelings, classrooms, and then gradually make a transition into the more park-like feelings. So that was the really simple starting point. And then, yeah, in the tree we have several different types of the floating platforms where we can have more different communications. And this is showing how the transitions, gradations from really classical classrooms, and then people is more melting out, and then to have this kind of a more three-dimensional free compositions and melting into the park. So this is a real section. And then, yeah, plan is really, if you only see this is really classical. Yeah, we have a lot of crazy catwalks and the big staircases, something like that. So yeah, we cut this section, and it's almost like just the boxes. When you cut this section, it's almost just the staircases. And again, like this is a ground level. And then, yeah, looks like the library is big staircases. So I think it's, and they can, yeah, the library big staircases are nicely used in various different ways. So hopefully this is also happening. And then, okay, I have 2 projects, so I will make it quick. This is a housing tower in also France. We won a competition last year, and now it's ongoing. It's in the permission process. This, yeah, this is it. It's located on the city of Montpellier. It's the south of France, Mediterranean climate, and really nice weather. Yeah, like here. And people are spending most of the time outside. So when we talked about the new typologies of the housing tower, it should be 50-meter high, 70-story high. So it should be the tower. But how we can create or recreate the new typologies of the towers.
Sorry.
And I really like to respect their lifestyle, their, how to say, long-time lifestyle, to respect the climate. So simple idea is to bring their terrace life into 3-dimensionally to make a tower. Then we just did it. Yeah, this is you see, big balconies. Biggest one is 6 meter, 8 meter, something, so it's quite big. And most of the house not only have 1 balcony, but 2 or 3 balconies sticking out from their house. So it's not more than half, but most of the areas, main areas, are in balconies. So it's, finally it appears a bit crazy, but at the same time it is really makes sense, thinking about their lifestyle. And this was competition, and we are one of the finalists, one of the 3 finalists. And the jury members were not like architectural jury, but more like city mayors, city government, developing people, or something like that. But of course, the local people. And they are so pleased to see how we carefully bring their traditional lifestyle into the contemporary architectures in such a crazy way. And so I am very happy that they understand our, how to say, respect for the context. So it's on the river, on the side of the river, And this strange shape was finally very important because otherwise we did many studies, and the first several studies, of course, we thought about that kind of a balcony option is one important possibilities, but first of all, we try to put the balconies on the usual rectangular bodies, and then it is like just like a bad, I don't know, composition of the toothbrush or something like that. And then, at that time, we just said, no, this is. But in the process, we did a careful study of the surroundings, and this is a site. It is on the roundabout. So anyway, this side is like this. And we have existing building like this. So we try to keep as much view as possible. Then it's better maybe to cut this part. Then I think maybe it could be nice to cut. And this shape itself, not so good shape, but anyway, we follow. So finally, almost automatically, we got this strange organic shape. And then again, we thought about, what about putting again balconies on this organic shape? And then it is not the toothbrush anymore. It's more like a, I don't know, hair comb or something like that. And then getting more organic, or a pine cone, or pineapple, or something like that. So, I don't know, the pine cones or pineapples are better than the toothbrush or not. But anyway, it seems better than the previous. And then we decided to do that. Yeah, as you can see, this is the axometric to show sometimes the duplex has different level balconies connected by the staircases, big one, independent one, and the directions and the distributions of the balconies are a little bit carefully, but not so seriously laid out yet. Because sometimes the big balconies on your balconies it's really bad, so we just carefully make it more spread out. And sometimes we have these kind of shadings. So yeah, this has the nice locations. So you can see the Mediterranean Sea, and you can see the mountains from the terrace. And yeah, as I said, it's on the process. And they already start to sell the apartment. It has 105 apartments. And after a few months, they almost sold 100 apartments. So only 5 are left. So if you like to have it, have to be very quick. I don't have it. But yeah, I think it's nice because climate, nice, comfortable balconies. I don't know which one is still left, the big one or a small one. But anyway, they got enough money to start construction, so it will start very soon. Okay, this is the last project. Yeah, the end of this last year, December, we won a competition in Budapest. It's a music museum together with a music hall, performance spaces. So the House of Music in Budapest, like this. It's located in the middle of the park. They have a big park in the middle of the Budapest. And actually this project is one of the 4 projects they are doing simultaneously in this same site, same park. So one of them is this, and one of them Architecture Museum, and I forgot, Photo Museum, and then the last one is the biggest one, is the Art Museum. So we chose this House of Music because it's in the middle of the park. Because we don't know very well about the context of the Budapest. And the other one is fitting to in between the urban situation and the park. But we don't know very well about what kind of a context is there. So we just thought it's a bit safer for us to promote something in the middle. Of course, at the same time, I like forest, so I like to make something in the middle of the forest. So finally, it is the volume with many, many openings. And then the concept is very simple in a sense. It's in the forest, playing the music. So what is the ideal or really, in a sense, classical, but never done in history? That kind of a dreamlike music hall. What is that? And then, yeah, playing the music in the forest is, of course, it's one of the ideal. Like this. So how we can make it? It's rather straightforward thinking, but sometimes it works. Then we try to recreate the forest, trees, things, transforming into architecture, and of course, satisfy all the programs. So this is the forest. Transform this one into architecture programs. Of course, we have many requirements. The exhibition space should have 10-meter high ceiling. It's so big volumes. So of course we tested to put such a big volumes on the ground, but apparently it's spoiled the forest experience. So we finally put it underground. Easiest solutions to hide the big volumes. And then we have also administration part or the library areas, something. So we put it in this big roof for big volumes with many, many penetrations to have that kind of a nice sunlight is coming through it. Then this was done. The shape of the roof is pure circle because, yeah, this is in the middle of the park and they have many different directions of the pedestrian pathway. So I don't want to make that kind of a, how to say, facade or backside or something. I like to make more equal access. But then we have many, many openings. It is like this. And the whole roof is slightly wavy. So that, of course, it is, in a sense, kind of a usual typologies of the piloting, the floating volumes. I like to avoid, I like to step forward from that. And I'm not sure this is the best answer to go one step from the usual piloting buildings, but I think it's really getting modest when you make it the edge more, how to say, these kind of delicate, soft impressions. And thinking about this is in the middle of the forest, you don't see exactly this kind of exterior view. It is always surrounded by the trees. So it's more like the experience is just, yeah, you are walking under the trees, and then gradually you feel trees is transforming into the ceiling, some of the ceilings. So you don't see the shape, but you can just experience it. So this kind of soft expression of the soft waving expression is not for these exterior forms, but more for the experiences. And then soft curved shape is making, how to say, less architectural things, I think. But yeah, maybe we have to study a bit more for the realizations. This is a section. Yeah, as I said, this has a huge volumes under the ground. And then some programs on the top. And we have auditorium, entrances, lecture hall, everything's covered by the glass. So like this. And then openings, or sometimes, this is not the openings, just similar patterns, but it has the reflection panels and the sound absorbing materials behind it. So the same languages, but the more functional things is happening sometimes, but many, many penetrations is coming down. And then the glass is like this, bended, to make a more nice acoustic reflections. This is a lecture hall, it's coming down. But sometimes, yeah, we can make it curtain to make it more darker. And again, here you will see more functional things. And the ceiling, this ceiling is finished by the mirror. So it has the nice reflections of the greens from outside, bringing into inside, hopefully. So it is completely artificial materials, but still, how to say, it's blurring between the forest and architecture. Not only the classical music, but could be used for the that kind of rock music, something. So I hope, yeah, it is the place of the really nice activities. And again, yeah, here, and in reality, we have more trees around. So transition from the natural forest into the architectural or artificial reflecting forest is, I think somehow it's amazing things. Especially is the exterior view are completely blocked. And in winter time, maybe you will see slightly the floating shape. So I think, yeah, only 9 projects. Sorry, 10 minutes over. But yeah, I hope you imagine, you can feel these kind of diversities. At the same time, the one same things, or several different but same things, are behind the concept. The diversities is from the same things. And then, again, from diversities, we can think about the same concept behind one thing. So one things, many things, simplicity, complexities, outside, inside, or furniture, architecture, landscaping, transparencies, translucencies, opaqueness, or small scales, cozy space, bigger scale forest. That kind of many different kinds of opposite scales is creating the rich dimensions of architecture. And and I hope, yeah, these 9 different, completely different projects is touching the same essence of architecture. Anyway, thank you very much.
So that was amazing. Thank you so much for making the long trip, and great to see you again at UCLA. You're definitely part of the family, and the work is mesmerizing. I had two questions. You begin with autobiography. Well, 3 questions. Is it autobiography toward newness, or is it autobiography toward just a simple authenticity? That's the first one. The second one is, in the 70s, when Isozaki was working on Ma and Oku, and if you think about the Guma grid within the grid, which was at the same time when Eisenman was dealing with deep structure, more of a historical, intellectual project. There are formal relations. Do you have a relation to that? And the third question is, with white, do you always assume that, or do you rethink it and decide white each time?
Okay, yeah. The biography, you mean my background. I think it's just like that, it happened. And accidentally I was just interested in that kind of nature and architecture things. But this is not so, how to say, in a sense this is very usual topic, nature and architecture things. But I like that kind of a really usual things. Maybe it's always connected to the history of architecture. And maybe the long history of architecture and maybe future history of architecture. So I like to commit that kind of fundamental questions. And when I think about my, not seriously, but my just a background, then I thought, wow, I was anyway grown up in nature. And now I'm in Tokyo. So strange situations. That kind of distance is so strange. That was just a starting point to think about what I have in my mind, or what I have in my background. And at the same time, yeah, of course I like to make something new, so I like to always try to find out some method or some try to find new understanding of the architecture. But at the same time, I like to, based on that kind of really, in a sense, usual or fundamental understanding of architecture. So maybe I'm split it always. But is that the right answers to the questions. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, of course, at the same time, I'm thinking I was playing a lot in the forest in my childhood days. But my parents says, "Wow, you are not so playing in the forest, but you are in the house." More, how to say? I also liked to draw or make something. So for my parents, the impression of me in my childhood day was to think about imaginary world, or just to think about the crazy situations, or just to make something. So that was also, I don't know, so maybe I recreated my fake background, or I'm not sure. But every time that is happening, I think. And for the Isozaki-san or the Eisenman, anyway, the grid things, I think, yeah, the same things maybe. The grid is really old, classical, or really could be the starting point. And in, for example, Japanese traditional architecture, we have the grid systems on the plan, not actually on the sections, but on the plan. Or that kind of a module or several different kind of grid is always in the history, I think. And in my case, I was not so good student to study Isozaki-san a lot. So that I just got an impression that Isozaki-san did the composition of the grid. And in my case, I thought, wow, but in my case, I like to use grids more, how to say, physical, human scale, or physical scales, small units, change the scales into a smaller size. Then I just thought, what's different could happen, or what's same things happen. So in a sense, I try to sometimes intentionally ignore something and just start what I'm interested in. And then sometimes find something nice, or sometimes find out, wow, Isozaki-san already did the same things. Or sometimes find nothing, but learn later, Isozaki-san did a lot more. So I think that kind of a process, personal process and historical process, sometimes meet together, but sometimes has a nice distances, and sometimes, how do you say, go on back, is exciting things for me. Because maybe I'm not a good student. I got a list of the book when I get into the university, and yeah, of course you have to read everything, but I didn't. And that makes, of course, both things. Sometimes, or some of them, I thought 10 years after, 10 years later, I thought, wow, I should have read at the time. A waste of the 10 years, 20 years. But some of them, wow, I was happy didn't read that, because almost touching to the similar topics, but trying to do the different things, then this history is so strong. So you will be easily trapped by the history, and you feel, well, nothing anymore for this field. But you can find it sometimes. So I think, but it just happened to you. So you can just have to read everything. Anyway, and the last one is, what is that last one? It's like white, yeah. I'm always, I really hate using white. So I always like to use different color. And finally, I always, I would say, be surrendered by white. It's like white is so strong. But I like to try to have different things. For example, the Tower of Montpellier, it is, finally it's white. But yeah, but not necessarily to be white. More metallic things is possible, or some other materials is possible. Or the French university, finally it was white. I think we could find some, but white is so strong. And sometimes if you use the trees, then the white is really beautiful background for trees. When it's green, it's really beautiful background. When the leaves fall down, it's also beautiful background. So for now, I don't have any good options. But every time I rethink about colors and materials and the textures and resolutions, and every time, choose white. Thank you.